What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host Donovan Quick, and if y'all followed the channel for a while, you know that I love me some Dolphins beat reporters, specifically Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, and that dude is awesome. He covers Dolphins, Marlins, Heat, Panthers, whatever you need. He's got you South Florida sports wise, and he is 100% reliable. He's going to tell you what he thinks. He's going to tell you the probably most level-headed responses that you'll ever get. So shout out Barry Jackson. And yesterday, after the Dolphins got eliminated from the playoffs and Ross announced that they were retaining both Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier, he wrote an article. In this article, he absolutely goes in on Ross. And now I'm going to read you kind of the highlights of it. Basically, he calls Ross one of the most complacent and patient owners in the entire NFL besides Jerry Jones. He's just okay with mediocrity, right? And he's constantly forgiven and given mulligans to his general manager, specifically Chris Grier, and his coaches. And he mostly talks about how retaining Chris Grier is just absolutely insane, and what he's done with Chris Grier is absolutely insane. So he talks about Charles Harris over TJ Watt. Let's reward Grier by giving him more power. Signing the wrong quarterback for the tank, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Letting him win too many games. Let's have the guy making that decision, Grier, oversee the rebuild. Ross, absolutely show your physical capabilities. We just haven't been able to impose that. But yet he sat and watched as Greer and McDaniel signed no replacement whatsoever for Pro Bowl caliber guard Robert Hunt, while signing retreads like Benito Jones, Neville Gallimore, Jonathan Harris, Tier Tart to replace Christian Wilkins and Raekwon Davis. That, of course, before they signed Calais Campbell in May, only because he signed for just $2 million, which is because we have no money in the cap space. Ross knew that Bradley Chubb would probably miss most of the season, yet he didn't say a word when we let Andrew Van Ginkel walk without even an offer. Now, he also suggested that the Dolphins draft Lamar Jackson, yet he watched Chris Grier ignore him and take Minka Fitzpatrick instead. And he just says, oh well. Now, he also, he listened to Chris Grier when he was told it was a good idea to commit $212 million, including $167 guaranteed, to a quarterback who has stayed healthy exactly 1 year in his life. Now, me personally, I was okay with signing Tua, but I felt like there should have been a little bit more contingencies in that, just because, he stayed healthy 1 year in his life. But yeah, there's not consequences for anything. Who exactly is looking out for the best interest of this franchise? It's one thing to empower your employees. It's another to allow them to go unsupervised when they haven't earned the trust of full autonomy. Is Ross not paying enough attention, or is he the most forgiving man on earth? He has not been made available to the Dolphins media in this decade. So he also criticized him for that, because he also pointed out, look at Robert Kraft, one of the most accomplished owners in the past 3 decades, and he's being made available for the media today at 1 p.m. because he's making a coaching change. Instead, he only offered the statement that they released when they're talking about retaining Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel. And so he goes on and on, more specific things in the article. If you guys want to go check it out, Barry Jackson on Twitter, Miami Herald, you can find it in the sports section as well. He also lists some things about offseason needs in there as well, but we'll get into that a little bit later on this channel, not right now. But the hate on Stephen Ross is 100% warranted. Everything that he said is 100% warranted and needed to be said. Because, look, I'm not a fan of Chris Grier at this time. At this moment, no. I feel like this draft class saved his job. I feel like Mike McDaniel may have saved his job. The picks that were in this draft, Chop Robinson felt kind of obvious. I wanted Brian Thomas Jr. because I knew that, Tyreek Hill was coming to an end, and I wanted that elite big receiver that we've been lacking in this offense. But, Chop Robinson has been really good too. So that's neither here nor there. But Patrick Paul is a Mike McDaniel pick. He is an offensive lineman that fits this scheme, and they can coach up behind Teron Armstead, who has great leadership. The pick after that, Jalen Wright. That is a Mike McDaniel pick. Mohamed Kamara barely saw the field this year. Channing Tindall barely saw the field this year, or his entire career, really. And I like Channing Tindall. I liked that pick at the time, but he's turned into nothing. Cam Smith has turned into nothing. That's 2 years. 2 years for Smith, 2 years for Tindall, just not being able to see the field. And then you got Malik Washington. That's a Mike McDaniel pick. Taj Washington, also a Mike McDaniel pick. Patrick McMorris barely saw the field at all. And I got to give credit where credit is due. They're really good at finding undrafted free agent corners, but those corners are really good backups. They're not starters in the NFL. Storm Duck is not a starter. Kader Kohu, I love him to death. He's not a starter right now. He is a really, really, really good backup. Like, you could throw him in the slot every once in a while and he'll make the play that needs to be made, but he is not an outside corner. You cannot line him up constantly opposite of Jalen Ramsey. You can't do it. I mean, between the 2021 class and this past draft class, that's kind of saving Chris Grier's job. And he's banking on that, but he's been the GM since Flores was hired back in 2019. Like, we can go back, he was officially hired in 2016, but that was Tannenbaum. He got full control in 2019, and at that point, it's just horrible. Like, 2019 draft class, you got Minkah Fitzpatrick, cool, but then you end up trading him after his rookie year. Like, cool, whatever. That was 2018. 2019, I don't even remember that draft class. Who the hell was even in it? And I remember almost all our draft classes. 2020, look, I like Tua. Herbert is a little bit better, and healthier and bigger. It just is what it is. I could flip a coin any other day and say I want Herbert or Tua, but right now Herbert's in the playoffs. I know the last 2 years Tua he wasn't, but Herbert's in the playoffs. And he has no receivers. He had a good offensive line, decent defense, decent run game, but he made it work. Then you have Austin Jackson. Honestly, he looked like a bust up until Mike McDaniel got here, and he's playing decently well, but he's always injured. Noah Igbenogany. He was never a first-round pick. He was like a mid-second, maybe late second-round pick, and you could have had Jonathan Taylor. You could have had an excess of players that were there. And look, I'm happy for Igbo. He's playing well for Washington now. He was never supposed to be a first-round pick, and he should not have been that pick there. And they whiffed on that, and they whiffed on Cam Smith. I like Cam Smith. He has that natural ability, but he hasn't shown me anything on the field. Like, in preseason, sure, cool, you're doing good, but that's preseason. Show me something in a regular season game. You have decent coverage, but you get a little handsy. So you got to refine your skills. That comes with some playing time, I know, but stay on the field. Hamstring injuries, now a dislocated shoulder, kicked you out for the season. Not a good thing. I mean, Channing Tindall, like I said, hasn't seen the field. I mean, you really hit on your first 3 picks in that 2021 class with Waddle, Phillips, and Holland. But Holland looked like hot doo-doo this year. He was playing through some injuries, I get it. But, bro, he looked terrible this year. And I love Holland. I'm one of his biggest fans. I have a jersey. Just absolutely abysmal. And you continue to go on through and through, and it's like, who have we hit on offensive linemen? Robert Hunt, cool. He's not here anymore. Who have we hit defensive linemen? We signed Zach Sealer off of the practice squad of the Ravens. Christian Wilkins, hit. He's gone. He's not here anymore. Brandon Jones was a great pick as well. He's not here anymore. It just goes on and on and on. Like Solomon Kinley, he looked decent, and then he wasn't, and then now he's gone. Liam Eichenberg didn't allow a sack all through college. Looks like he got manhandled in the NFL at every single position across the offensive line because he's played it at least one snap. Terrible. Terrible. You're finally given an assignment to just play one position, and you can't do that. His ability to get off the ball sucks, and it annoys me. I can go on and on and on about a Liam Eichenberg in a video, but I'm not going to do that. So Liam Eichenberg, whiff. Michael Dieter looked pretty decent at center for everybody but the Dolphins. Everybody but the Dolphins. Goes to the Texans, make the playoffs, and he's starting the second half of the season. Goes to the Commanders this year, starting the second half of the season, they're in the playoffs. And he looks good doing it. And it just sucks, bro. It sucks. Like, I swear, it's like the Dolphins' MO that you just can't draft an offensive lineman and then keep him. Laramie Tunsil, he was a hit. He's on the Texans. It sucks, bro. It sucks. Like, Chris Grier has not been consistent in hitting with his picks. Look at the Rams. The Rams won their division this year. They made the playoffs in back-to-back years, a year out of a rebuild. A year out of the rebuild. They won the Super Bowl, then won like 5 games, got rid of everybody except Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, and they just went absolutely crazy. Made the playoffs last year, made the playoffs this year. They won their division this year. Like, oh, whoop-de-doo, we beat a playoff team, cool. But like, Puka, mid-round pick, hit. Their corners have been good. Cam Kitchens, second-round pick. Brandon Fisk, second-round pick. Jared Verse, first-round pick. Like, they're hitting on all their picks. They have great youth over there. And they're coached up really, 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 really well. Now, can the Dolphins reset like they did? Can this be our one down year, and then next year we hit on our first, second, third-round picks? 4th-round pick? Because Christian Wilkins got hurt. He played less than 50% of the snaps, which means his 3rd-round comp pick goes to a 4th round. So we got screwed there. We were planning on having 2 third-round comps. That's why we traded a 3rd-round pick to get a 4th rounder this past year to get Jalen Wright. Which, what did he even do this year? He's a power back. I haven't really looked at the advanced statistics, but just watching him, eyeballing it, he's not getting that many yards after contact. But I swear every time he's in there, they know that he's going to run the ball, and they just swarm our offensive line, and there's nowhere to go because our offensive line stinks. Our defensive line stinks outside of Zach Sealer and Chop, Zach Sealer, Jalen Phillips, like our starters, cool. Calais Campbell, great, but Calais Campbell's not playing, 50 snaps a game. Zach Sealer's not playing 50 snaps a game. He probably could, but I don't want him to. I want to rotate our big guys. And Benito Jones, he played well. Okay, cool. He's a 30 snap when you're a 30 snap a game kind of guy and you're playing at the level that Benito Jones is, that's not good. He's more of a 15 snap a game kind of guy. Same thing with Deshaun Hand. Same thing with Neville Gallimore, Jonathan Harris. Those guys, they're not 30 to 40 snap a game guys. They are 15 to 20 snap a game guys. They're not guys that you want in there when you 100% need that 3rd and 1 stop. That's not who you want in there. I don't want that in there. I want my starters in there. And even then, Calais Campbell, I feel like you can only do so much. Jordan Poyer looked horrible this year. Horrible. He's so washed, it's unbelievable. But we let both Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones walk and signed him. I would rather have both Elliott and Jones over Holland and Poyer this year. Brandon Jones, he's a first alternate in the Pro Bowl. Deshaun Elliott, I'm pretty sure he's like the 2nd or 3rd alternate in the Pro Bowl. Like, they played so well this year. I know Elliott trashed us for being soft. I don't care. We are soft. And that comes from Chris Grier, the personnel that he brings in the building. It's not from the coaches. Like, Anthony Weaver, he's not soft. Mike McDaniel, okay, I could see where he's a little soft there. But, like, our offensive linemen, they're all soft. Outside of Teron Armstead, all soft. all soft little baby girls. Like, I don't care. I'll sit here, you know. No, I'm kidding. I won't say that to their face. 100% not doing that. I'm just rambling at this point. But my point is, Barry Jackson 100% has a point to go after Ross, because this is an absolute, just abysmal roster, and he's allowing it to continue, allowing it to happen. Now, we don't know what the vision is. We know that they think they know what they're doing, but we have zero faith on the outside because we haven't seen anything in 24 years. Show us something. Give us a reason to believe in this team, and give it to us for more than 4 weeks at a time. Give me a reason to want to continue my season ticket membership. Give me a reason to want to watch, want to believe in this team. Ross has not done that. Chris Grier has not done that. Mike McDaniel, he has, to a certain extent. He has me believing that we are a good playoff team. But to a certain extent, he can coach up this terrible personnel to an 8-9 record with Tua missing 6 games and us losing 4 of those 6. 4 of the 6 losses, 4 of the 9 losses that we had were with Tua out of the lineup. He was out for 6 games. 4 losses without him. 4 easily winnable games with him. Tua needs to protect himself better. The coaching staff needs to help him protect himself better. It's not like, oh, no, you can't do that. Like, Tua, your awareness has to be better. You have to be better. This offensive line, hot garbage. Mike McDaniel, you need to be assertive. Like when you're yelling at the refs for making a terrible call, go to Chris Grier's office and be like, this offensive line is not good enough. This personnel group that you gave me to work with is not good enough. You need to do better. And it's that plain, that simple. Because we cannot go into next season with this offensive line. Patrick Paul at left tackle, I'm fine with. Isaiah Wynn at left guard, I'm not okay with. You want to know why? As good as Isaiah Wynn has been for us, he cannot stay on the freaking field. Center Aaron Brewer, I'm okay with. He has looked fantastic compared to what he was last year on the Titans. Fantastic. He's also middle of the pack. He is a top 15 center. He is not a top 10 center. He's a top 15 center. Right guard, we 110% need a right guard. Right tackle, I love Austin Jackson. When he's in there, he's good. He's not great, he's good. But the man cannot stay freaking healthy. Draft a backup. I don't care. Sign a good backup. Kendall Lamb, he's a good backup, but he's also always hurt. And he said he was going to retire before this season, that this was going to be his last season. He was coming back for one more year. Then mid-season was like, nah, I'll play another year maybe. I don't know. We'll discuss it after the season. Boom, gets hurt and needs back surgery. He's probably retiring too. So you have Teron Armstead, Kendall Lamb probably retiring. So now our 2 tackles on the roster, Austin Jackson, Patrick Paul. I'm okay with Patrick Paul. I like him. Austin Jackson, We'll see. Like, I like Austin Jackson. When he's in there, like I said, he's good. Not great, good. But he's not ever healthy at the end of the season, and we need it. We need the toughness. He is not tough. He is really good. He's not great. He's not tough. He's not able to finish a season. And you need to be able to finish a season. Last year, we had an opportunity to do something great. You know what happened last year? Chubb went down. Phillips went down. Isaiah Wynn went down. Connor Williams went down. Robert Hunt went down. Austin Jackson went down. Teron Armstead playing like 60% of the snaps. That's 4 of our 5 offensive linemen, starting offensive linemen, that were out. Then you have Teron Armstead, who knows if he's going to play? Who knows? That was last year. And then you go to the defensive side of the ball. You're losing 2 starting edge rushers because of season-ending injuries. You have Xavier Howard, who couldn't stay healthy and couldn't stay on the field. And you have no competent backup corner. Yeah, you have Cam Smith and Igbo, and I liked both of them. Neither of them played. Instead, you have Vic Fangio playing Eli freaking Apple. Probably why he's over in fucking Philadelphia right now. But like, that's my point. Is like, what are we doing? It's very frustrating because great teams have good backups, can plug and play. Now we saw with the Chiefs game yesterday, like, yeah, you take out your 6-7 most important guys and you're probably not going to win anything. And we took out probably, I don't know, like six important guys last year. I mean, when your entire offensive line's gone, that's pretty important. I count that as at least one or two. And then you have you know, 3 star defensive players also out for the year that we couldn't play. Yeah, that didn't help either. So, I mean, we just fell apart. But it's also lack of depth. Like, in the Chris Grier not addressing that. He needs to be accountable. He needs to be held accountable by the owner, by Ross. Ross needs to be able to be like, look, I know you've been here for 20 years. I know I just made you GM in 2019, but we have some great players, some good players, but we have a lot of bad players that are being coached up to be mediocre. They're bad players. You put them on any other roster, they are bad. We make them mediocre. But mediocre is not good enough. Good is not good enough. And Ross needs to hold these guys accountable and be harsher. I wanted him to be a little bit more hands-off when the Gase era was there, and I was happy when he kind of took a step back when Grier took over in 2019. But like, you're so hands-off at this point. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we need to do something here, brother. We need to fix something. Anyway, thank you for coming to my rant. Barry Jackson, you're the GOAT. If you guys don't already follow Barry Jackson on Twitter, go ahead and follow him, Barry Jackson, Miami Herald. He is the dude. All right, deuces.